Through the concrete cracks worn weary by work boots and high heels. Through the concrete cracks showered in tears of sorrow, tears of joy. Through the concrete cracks rumbled by reverberations of 100 years, a flower on the hill takes its first breath, and a grand hope springs. Welcome to the Spring Street podcast at the intersection of creation and destruction in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. And now, a word from the sponsors. This podcast is sponsored by Starship Kairos, a podcast studio available for bookings in downtown Los Angeles. Starship Kairos is where my guests and I make this show happen. Soundproofed, cozy, and equipped with professional audio gear, Starship Kairos is an ideal location for any type of podcast. Starship Kairos offers a full suite of services including content consultation, mixing and mastering, and custom jingle writing. For rates and booking, check them out on Instagram at Starship Kairos or click on the link in the description. And now, let's dive in. Okay, we are live here on the Spring Street podcast. My man Sam.
What's up? Happy to be here, man.
Dude, I'm happy to have you. Happy to have you on the show. Hey, buddy, come here. Dude, this dog is amazing. I'm so worried he's gonna step on the power.
Hey, Coda,
come on
buddy.
Around the chair.
Come on.
There we go.
So, yeah, my dog's in the studio with us, and
It's not just a podcast; it's a dog cast.
It's a dog.
You know what? This is the second dog that's been featured.
Really?
Second dog featured on the podcast.
Nice.
Hopefully
he...
Dude, maybe the more and more dogs that show up, I'm gonna have to get like a little bed in the corner.
Yeah.
Or a little dog house, some treats.
Yeah. Maybe not a bone, or you're gonna be hearing that in the background the whole time. Like.
For real. For real.
Things get super loud. But.
I was thinking it's kind of funny the circumstances that this is all happening, because it's a bit of a repeat, because when I interviewed Katie, she also came to one of my shows the night before. And so for everybody who's listening right now, you and I, we met at Schoolie. You were like the last of the crew to come on the show.
Yeah, took me a while.
From our little wagon circle at Schoolie. And yeah, man, it's great to have you on here. So
yeah, no, it's awesome to be here. It's like full circle now.
Dude,
had everybody.
It really is, man. It really is. So let's start at the beginning. What made you want to get into the van life?
Van life. Gotten that question a lot. And yeah, in the past, I don't know, I've always kind of rattled off a lot of answers, that, are all definitely like valid answers, but ultimately kind of what it comes down to is just kind of felt drawn to it, like I kind of had for a while, and just got to the point where I was just doing my day job, watching van build videos all the time, thinking about like how I would build my own out. And I was just thinking about it all the time. It was like coming out of COVID too, when we were just all locked down, and I'd just kind of gone through a period of my life where I just wasn't like getting out much, just kind of like a rough patch. So it was just, I don't know, it's just like, I gotta go do this.
Yeah. Who were some of the YouTubers that you were watching? Do you remember any of their names? Or the channels?
Nobody really specifically. I have had like friends who've done it in the past, so I'd watch theirs sometimes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, one girl named Hannah Lee Dugan. She's actually a pretty successful YouTuber now.
Nice.
She was like one of the first people that I knew that I saw like went and did it.
Yeah, and she's from
Minnesota.
Where you're from? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she's got. Since then, her YouTube channel's really blown up. I think she's got like 1 million subscribers now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was she at Schoolie?
No.
Okay.
No, she kind of just marches to the beat of her own drum.
Fair enough.
But yeah, like seeing like her just go out, build her own van. I've had some other friends, go and do it. So definitely was just kind of inspired by that. And I don't know, and never wasn't sure how much I would actually like it or not, but it was just like, it just felt drawn to it. To me, it just kind of represented this new realm of like freedom and adventure and just kind of opportunity, never really knowing what's around the corner. So it was just like, I gotta go try it,
Yeah. Did you grow up doing a lot of outdoor kind of stuff, like camping or hiking or traveling or adventuring?
Definitely had a non-traditional upbringing.
Mhm.
I wasn't like a huge, like as a young kid, yes, I was outside all the time. I grew up overseas for a while, actually in Tanzania, in Africa. So definitely
man,
got
we were
to
talking
some,
about that earlier.
yeah, I got some cool adventures doing that as a kid. My parents definitely would take us out, camping and stuff like that, when we were back in the States. But yeah, for a good chunk of like my adolescence, like high school and stuff, I didn't care that much for it.
Oh, really?
It was more like after college, what really kind of lit that fire for me again was actually working a job, my first job after college. I went and worked up in like northern Alaska.
No way.
Yeah, at a
Sick.
I was interested in environmental science, and I ended up
Cool.
getting a pretty sweet seasonal job as a like field researcher out of a ecological field station.
That's cool.
Yeah, up in the Arctic.
Damn.
Part of Alaska.
That's super cool.
Yeah, so that was like life-changing for me. After that, I was just all about, being outside, climbing mountains, doing all that stuff.
Yeah. How long did that last for?
There was like a 3-month job. So we'd get up there around June when there'd still be snow on the ground.
Yeah.
And then we'd be up, the summer season would usually go into like September.
Cool.
Early September, and then, we'd leave.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many seasons did you do?
I did it twice.
Sick.
Yeah. So that was definitely a big, like, after that, I was way more into, I was going to REI all the time and all that stuff. And definitely thinking about
I
more
love
stuff
REI,
like van
man.
life. Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
Spend your whole paycheck there.
It's dangerous. Get me out of REI. I've always wanted to go to Alaska. It's been on the list for a minute now.
Definitely, yeah. It's pretty sweet.
Spending
definitely worth the trip.
Spending the summer solstice in Alaska, I feel like would be so cool. Just to get like a 22-hour day, or isn't it like in some parts it's basically 24 hours of sunlight?
Oh yeah. That's where I was.
That's
so
cool.
24 hours sunlight for like 2 months straight.
Damn.
Yeah, I'll have to show you. Yeah, we always had a party. It was really cool. Like like being at the field station community kind of reminds me a little bit of like van life community in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would like have like we'd be working all the time usually, like Monday to Saturday, when we get Sundays off. So every Saturday night we'd have kind of like bonfires, like kind of just all get together and do stuff, because like we're at a remote field station in the wilderness. Like that's your company for the summer. So it's like, you better get along.
For sure.
But everyone was super cool. And like the solstice, every time we would have like a bonfire party, and it was always pretty wild because, it's like 1 a.m., sun's still high in the sky.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How did it energize you for the sun to be just shining that many hours of the day, or was it kind of strenuous? What was that experience like?
I think so, yeah. Like when you're in work mode, yeah, I don't know. It's that in itself is energizing because it's like field work outside. So it didn't interfere with my life, I feel like, that much. Like we would still get plenty of sleep at night. We'd have tents that would block out the rays. But definitely like on Saturday nights when the sun would be up, like, yeah, you'd be up, you'd be partying. All of a sudden it's like 2 a.m. and you're like, what?
Dude.
So
cool.
When you're in vacation mode though, and traveling around Alaska, it's very energizing, I would say. Like it's just something really magical about it, just being in a really beautiful place, traveling around like the Kenai or something like that.
Yeah.
And then just to have it be 11 p.m. and still sunny out. The days just kind of go by just so slowly. And
have you been there in the winter?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I want to.
I feel like it would be the opposite. I feel like those long nights would just be so brutal.
If you live there full time, that would really suck. It'd be tough. But I would like to travel up there and experience it. Just because like when the
darkness, 24 hours of darkness.
I wouldn't want to go for that time. I would want to time it so that there's some daylight.
Yeah.
Because like I have friends who live up there, you know, full time, and just, you know, they're all obviously into like outdoor stuff. Some of them like do dog sledding with huskies and stuff like that,
sick.
or you know, they get out and cross country ski or snow bike. But
Snow
anytime,
bike.
yeah, like fat tire bike with kind of
Really?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't even really know that was the thing. That sounds sick.
Yeah, some people do it in Minnesota too. But they just get out there and it just looks so incredible. You know, just the winter landscape up there with like usually when the sun does come up, it's like sunset, golden hour type lighting. So it's just
interesting.
And then, you know, when the sun isn't up, you know, a lot of times they get just the craziest northern lights, you know, pretty frequently.
That's cool. I still have never seen the Northern Lights.
I haven't either, even though I was up there.
Man.
Because the sun was always up. So,
dude, we gotta cross all these bucket list items, man.
Yeah. And so, and like flights up there in the winter, ain't nobody flying up there, so you could do it for pretty cheap.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like nobody's going to Fairbanks in February.
Yeah, I once tried to go to Alaska, and I did not get very far. It was in my first van, but it was before I was living in the van, and it was me and my ex-girlfriend, and we were like, we're gonna drive to Alaska. We're just gonna do it. Dude, we got like a fraction of the way there. We ended up in this town called Lillooet, which is, it's if you're in BC, there's like Vancouver, then it goes to like Squamish, Whistler, and then Pemberton, and then eventually you get to Lillooet. And if you look on a map, it's like you've barely even made a dent on the way to Alaska.
It's a long way, man.
We got there and we're like, you know what? This is cool. I think we're just gonna hang out here for a night and then go back.
Yeah, you tried. It's always the next year.
Yeah, well, that van was definitely not equipped.
Oh yeah.
Maybe now. Do you think your van would make it up to Alaska?
I think so.
Yeah.
I've driven that thing now to like basically Canada to Mexico and back like 3 times.
Really?
Yeah, not like
what kind of routes?
Like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Well, basically my cabin is pretty close to. It's about an hour from Canada, up in northern Minnesota. So I was working on it up there.
Yeah.
And then I drove it down to Tucson, which is an hour from the Mexican border, to keep working on it. And then I drove it back up to Minnesota near the end of like come summertime because it's so hot, and I just had to go do stuff there.
Yeah. At least gas prices going like north south when you're in the middle of the United States, the gas prices are probably pretty cheap.
Yeah, they're not as bad as out here. And then that's when I finally finished it and I hit the road and I basically drove, you know, back all the way down to Tucson again. Eventually, because I was on my route. So
dang. Wait, so how long did your van build take?
About a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And so, you got, well, what kind of van for people who haven't seen your van? What kind of van do you have?
It is a 1971 Ford Econoline with a high top, I think an aftermarket high top on it. So it's pretty nice. You can stand up inside. So it's a old school Ford. Been around the block, but it's running pretty good.
What was your process for building it out? What kind of stuff did you have to do on it?
Yeah, good question. So I did get it. I wasn't starting from like complete scratch because somebody did do a prior build on it when I bought it, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. So I pretty much gutted it. All that I really left was kind of the basic kitchenette layout, like the framing, and then about 2/3 of the wood and insulation. And then basically redid everything else. And then all that wood too, and resurfaced and restained all of that. But the approach to doing the build was kind of just system by system. I kind of just focused on one at a time. So I think I started with my water.
Interesting.
Yeah. Huh. So I started with like my water plumbing. And I'd usually just do a lot of research on that one system. I had a couple go-to blogs, a couple go-to YouTube channels, and just kind of focused on getting the right tools, the right materials, and whatnot. And each one was just freaking hard as hell. Plumbing, yeah. So started with water, built my own water tanks, mounted those underneath, and did all that. And then what next was I focused on the gas, the propane system.
Do you have your propane inside of?
No.
Really?
I have it mounted underneath the vehicle too.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a little tank behind my freshwater tank.
That's cool.
So, yeah, that was one of the hardest things of the whole build. Definitely was.
How big is your propane tank?
It's like 5 gallons.
Okay, so it's like a typical tank.
Yeah, it lasts forever. Since I've been on the road, I've only refilled it like twice, and I cook all the time.
Yeah, propane. It blows my mind how long it lasts. I have a 1 gallon tank.
Yeah,
I will go months.
Yeah,
months on that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's beautiful. I love propane.
Yeah, me too.
I'm about it.
And it's like $15 to fill up the whole tank.
Yeah,
too.
it's so cheap. So wait, yours is on the bottom of the van.
Yep.
Is it protected in any kind of way from like?
Yeah.
Like if you were to run over something, like it's not gonna spark or like hit it or anything.
It's got a little shield plate protecting all the connections, but it's designed to go under vehicles like RVs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's built for that. It's just really tough metal, and the clearance is pretty good. So I mean, it's just as high up as like my own vehicle's like fuel tank.
How do you fill it up, or how do you get it out?
It's accessible. It's kind of like on the side, and you can, like, gas technicians, they can stick the little the hose or whatever you want to call it.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
On the little the inlet.
Yeah.
So it's accessible.
Dude, that's sweet. So you never actually have to take it out.
No.
You just go to wherever they.
I hope I never ever have to take it out. Because, dude, it was so hard to.
Yeah.
Because it barely fit in the space allotted. Like underneath my van, it's hard to like really visualize it, but there's basically a channel on each side of the frame that's like just wide enough to fit like my water tank. So it goes like up into that channel, and that's how they kind of, are up high enough have like a foot of clearance.
Interesting.
So there was just like barely enough space to put a propane tank up there, and I actually had to like do some custom plastic welding on the water tank to get it to fit.
Oh yeah.
And yes, it was
plastic welding.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like melting plastic.
The plastic to change the shape of it. That's crazy.
Yeah, I had to like cut a piece out that was in the way, and then weld it into a new area, and then like patch up that hole with it was just a whole.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How big is your water tank?
20 gallons.
Cool.
Yeah.
How long does that last you?
Well, I haven't used it in like literally a couple months because I've just
that
been
system is down.
Yeah, the system needs a little work. I've just been lazy, but it would last me a few days, like 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Do you shower with it too?
No, I don't use it for showers.
Just for cooking. Like just for like washing dishes.
Washing dishes, for drinking water.
Huh. 4 or 5 days.
I have a filter for it.
Doesn't seem very long.
Yeah, I don't know. You just go through water pretty quick,
Yeah, because I have a 20-gallon tank too.
Yeah.
The difference is I don't really drink the water.
Okay.
I typically only use it to wash the dishes and brush my teeth.
I try not to, any opportunity I can to just, because I have a 1 gallon like Yeti water bottle, so any chance I get to fill that up, I take it.
Yeah.
But that's, I think what I found out was lasted me about 4 days or so back when I was actually using it.
Yeah. Interesting. And then I saw you, that water tank that's underneath your van, the one that's visible, that's the freshwater tank, or is it a gray water tank?
I have 2.
Okay.
So it's the same tank, one on each side.
Okay.
So I got a gray water on the other side.
See, I think that's really cool that you have a gray water tank
on
the outside of the van.
It is nice. Yeah, the plumbing for that was that was fun.
Dude, in hindsight, I should have just put in the time to put a gray water tank under the van. Because it smells. It smells terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it does smell. The best thing I can do is just to empty it regularly. And I kind of have like a good system for that now, because for a while, I just had like a big 5-gallon jug sitting under the sink, and it would just drain into there, and then I would pick it up and have to dump it out somewhere.
Yeah.
And without fail, I would always let it overflow.
Oh,
I would always just leave it until the very last minute.
Yep.
And then it'd be overflowing, it'd be heavy. And eventually I was like, this is crazy. I can't be doing this.
Yeah, it's gross. We have that same thing at my cabin up north, and I was like, there's no way.
Yeah. So what I did was I put a little hole in the bottom, and I like it was a very jimmy rigged process, but what I did was basically put like a little outlet in that hole, made my own little gasket, kind of just, use a bunch of product to make it all adhere together. And then I have like clear vinyl tubing with like a valve.
Mm-hmm.
So I just open it and close it and it will drain. And then it kind of just like drains out below my van.
Yep.
It's just like I open the door, stick it down, just drains out the super simple. But the only thing is it will never drain like fully because that hole at the bottom isn't like truly at the bottom.
Yeah.
So there will always be probably
small amount. Yeah.
Like a half an inch. And I think that's where
the smell comes
from.
Yeah, gray water's kind of gross.
Oh, that is so cute. Your dog just put his head right in my lap.
Yeah, he'll do that.
Oh, my
see his nose poking up.
Wow.
Yeah, he can be distracting.
In a good way, though.
Dogcast.
So, okay, propane under the car.
Mm-hmm.
Safe.
It's the safest way you can do it.
No worrying about propane leaking in your living quarters.
Yeah, pretty minimal because I have copper pipes that run underneath the van, and they just come up into the vehicle right where they go into the appliance. So there's just a small amount of space where gas is coming through, and I also have it wired to a gas solenoid.
Oh, what's that?
That I can. So it's basically an electric switch that you can use for water or for plumbing. So it allows you to like wire that into your plumbing system so that, water or gas will only like flow through pipes when you flip the switch.
Oh, cool.
So when I have the switch off, then there's no gas going through my pipes at all.
Got it.
So gas will only like flow through pipes like into the appliances when I flip that switch. And
nice.
Just another safety measure.
Yeah.
So
nice. I do wish that I didn't have my propane tank in my car. But it's only it's a 1 gallon tank.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like that really makes a huge difference. Like, it's just in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's just a baby tank of propane.
Do you have it in a sealed locker or anything?
No.
Yeah, just keep an eye. As long as you had gas,
it's not
a carbon monoxide alarm,
Yeah, I do. So I have the carbon monoxide. Plus, propane is like heavier than air. So it like will sink to the bottom. And since I sleep pretty high up, like I've never smelled gas. There's like I usually make sure that valve is closed.
Yep.
As soon as like I'm done with it, or before I go to bed. But there's definitely been nights where I've looked at it I turned on the stove the next day and I'm like, oh, I didn't turn it off.
That happens.
And I was, didn't die. I was fine.
Yeah.
It didn't leak because I didn't smell any propane.
Yeah.
So
more often than not, you're gonna be fine. A lot of people have them in their vans. I have Mr. Buddy heater in my van since my propane heater was not working.
Oh yeah.
So that's like the same thing.
Yeah, it's a what is the kind of heater that you have?
It's a backup. My backup heater is like a Mr. Buddy, just that portable thing you can get at like Home Depot or Ace or whatever.
And it runs on propane?
Yeah, that thing runs on propane.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have a really nice like propane furnace that's copper plumbed to my tank that we just talked about, but it's made by Propex, and it's supposed to work really well. It was really hard to install.
Yeah.
It was not cheap, and it just hasn't. It has all these built-in sensors that will make it like shut off if it doesn't like something, and so it's been doing that ever since I hit the road. Where I'll start it up, it'll start heating, and then it'll shut itself off, and the red light will start flashing. And
how cold does it have to be for you to start using your Mr. Buddy heater?
If it drops like below 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's insulated pretty well, so it's not too bad. I'm also from Minnesota, so I'm used to the cold.
Yeah.
But if it's like above 40, I find that or like mid 40s, I find I don't really need it.
Yeah.
In the 30s though, I'm like, all right, get that shit out.
Yeah, I've slept in there in the 30s when I was in Bend. It was pretty cold, but I just like layered up and was in
Mhm.
blankets and I was fine.
Yep.
But I haven't gotten to the point yet where I'm like, oh, I need a heater. So
You'll
I'm
get-
kind of curious. I want to test it out. I want to go cold.
Yeah,
I want to
there's
see how cold it takes for me to be like, all right, I got to get a little electric heater or something.
yeah, it's good to know. Just go up into like Colorado, New Mexico, come winter, you'll figure it out.
Real quick, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was there was definitely some nights where I was like, if I don't go get more propane canisters like right now, like this is gonna suck.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Dang.
I was out in some like low 20-degree weather.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's
think the
pretty
coldest
cold.
was like 17.
That's
maybe.
pretty cold.
Yeah,
That's
that was
pretty
when I
rough.
first hit the road. It was November, so I was like, all right, let's keep going south.
For sure.
Yeah.
How did you insulate your van?
I used there was some insulation that was already there that I just kept, and I think that was just kind of like your standard. I don't know, I forget what the material's called, but I did shore up a number of other areas,
Mm-hmm.
and I used sheep's wool.
Yeah, the
Havelock
Havelock stuff,
wool.
right?
Yeah,
Dude, I
yeah,
love
yeah.
Havelock.
It's great.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
It is fun.
It's fun
You
because
just
like
take bunches of it and you stuff it and like
yeah, and it's not fiberglass, so you don't have
Yeah.
to worry about it like making you itch or
Mhm.
like doing weird stuff to your body.
100%. Yeah, if I do another build, I would definitely use all Havelock
Yeah,
for insulation.
yeah, it's kind of expensive, but
It is, yeah, but
it's really cool.
I feel like I can just feel the warmth that it provides.
Yeah, man, it's like being you're like in a sheep.
Yeah.
Your van's just a big sheep,
Pretty much.
a big fleece.
Yeah, I got it stuffed in the doors and the corners and yeah, all these. Because the old mine's van's like pretty old, so there's just more like random empty little pockets, spaces, and like random holes and stuff.
Yeah, how does it do in the heat? Do you find that it gets pretty hot in there?
Yeah, it gets hot. That's what I need to like work on right now is now that it's starting to hit the low 80s, I need to start taking some steps to get it cooler. Like
Yeah.
first and foremost, get a damn I have it in my Amazon shopping cart right now. I just need to figure out where I'm going to ship it.
Yeah.
Is a sun reflector for the windshield.
Oh, yeah.
I found one that like you can like pull out, and it attached to like suction cups.
That's cool.
And it'll like kind of compress in on itself. So
That's
because
cool.
it's like otherwise it's like I don't know where to keep this when
Yeah.
it's not up.
I had reflectors that I just made
Nice.
out of
That's
like
cool.
a roll of that reflective like bubble wrap looking stuff.
Yeah.
But they were a pain in the ass because I like when I wasn't using them, I was
Yeah.
like, where do I put these?
Where do
Floor.
yeah.
We probably lost a little bit. I've been keeping my eye on it. I don't know why it's been doing this lately, but we're good because we probably didn't lose much.
Nice.
But just in case, what we were talking about is the reflectics on the windshield, dealing with the heat,
Super important,
super.
especially when you have a dog.
Yes. Have you thought about tinting your windows?
I probably should. I've heard about other people doing that.
It makes a difference.
I honestly, I probably should because I have so many damn windows and people can just kind of see into my van.
Yeah.
Tint the windows, get better curtains.
Mm.
Yeah.
I tinted my windows, the front one. Well, all of them. I only have 3 windows, and it definitely made a difference on the heat.
How expensive is that?
I think I paid $600.
All right, that's not bad.
Yeah, I was willing to do it just because the heat was so crazy, and I was done with those reflectics. And then, honestly, I like the privacy element of it too. Like, I could have gone darker, but I didn't want to. I want to be traveling, and I don't want to be pulled over in a state where they're like, you can't have windshields like that. you
Yeah.
know? So I was like, I was comfortable with how dark I put them. But yeah, they're just like making it harder for people to see in. It definitely cuts down on the heat a bit, not completely. But yeah, I mean, dude, LA is the place to get your windows tinted for sure. There's a lot of places where
Right,
you can
yeah.
get windows tinted.
Damn, maybe I'll have to do that before I leave town.
Yeah, add that to the shopping list.
Yeah, see,
That's quick too. It's like a little few hour job.
Damn, okay.
Just drop it off. They'll do
Okay.
it. I know a guy.
I
Man.
know you know a guy.
If you need your windows tinted, I know a guy.
Damn, all right. Yeah, just rolling up in my 71 Econoline.
You have your Maxxair Fan
Mm-hmm.
more towards the front
Yep.
than the back.
I just installed that. Yeah.
I'm curious about how effective you feel it is.
I think it's like, I don't know. I just installed it, so I experienced life without it. And now that I have it, I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have the air blow in or blow out?
See, I've had it go out, but I don't know like which one is the right one to do.
I think that makes sense when it's hot. Because like
it's circulation, that's what you want. So
yeah.
And I have like windows that I can open, and I have another fan in the very, very back that I have blowing through. So I have like two other little fans in the van.
Yeah.
Just kind of mounted on the walls.
So I've had some trouble with it because I'm still been trying to figure out the best way to use it, but I'll have the air blow out, but I pretty much never crack the windows.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that actually it's probably not as effective because it's not able to create that kind of circulation of like blowing out the hot air.
Yeah.
When it blows in though.
Some people have two to do that.
Yeah. So I think that would be the move. One in the front, one in the back.
Yeah.
One sucking in air, one blowing it out.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. But I want to get these window inserts. They're like the window vent inserts. And then you can permanently have like air that can circulate through. I think that will make a big difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's smart. I'm going to have to look into those.
Yeah. They make them custom for like aftermarket for Sprinter vans.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm sure that you could find something that you could retrofit for your van. I'm curious, why did you choose to do the van that you did? What was your selection process like?
I was just looking at a bunch of them on like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist and stuff. And I was like I was trying to find, around a certain price point, around like $10,000 or so, and somewhere in that range. And I don't know, I just saw that one and I freaking loved it. I wasn't planning it a classic one. I was looking at a lot of just typical cargo vans, but around that price point, like they're beat up, they have like 200,000 miles usually.
Yeah.
Or more. And
how many does yours have?
When I bought it, it only has 75,000 miles.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Going all the way back to 1971.
Wow.
75,000 miles.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it has like very little, rust. The body's in good shape. So I think it just spent most of its life in somebody's garage.
Crazy.
It was like a family van.
Crazy.
It's originally from Idaho. But I just saw it and I was like, that is like an incredible machine. It's like it's kind of iconic looking. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it was in Upper Peninsula, Michigan. So I went out to go see it, and
love at first sight.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's cool, man. $10,000 for a new home.
Yeah,
it's not a bad deal.
Not bad.
You've had to make some mechanical repairs on it though, right? Since having it.
Yeah.
What have you had to do on it?
Fair amount.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, it's just old. I just had to get the back part of the transmission rebuilt.
Okay.
That's been
that
easily
like
the biggest thing. Yeah.
Big job.
Yeah. I'm just glad it happened while I was in Southern California near my brother's place. I just posted up with him for a week. So that was definitely the biggest thing, but it's everything that's broken has been just purely because of how old it was. It's like it functions very well. Like the engine has been solid. I've had diagnostic tests on the engine and it does, it's firing really well. I've replaced the rear part of the exhaust because those exhaust pipes and mufflers were just super old. The brakes I've had worked on them a couple times. And just like, tune ups and new alternator.
Okay.
Kind of a
sounds like the alternator and the transmission is probably like the biggest jobs on there.
Alternator's pretty cheap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those are like $150, $200.
Man.
Yeah, the exhaust was a lot. The brakes were a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brakes are always a lot, but it's like just part of being a car owner.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And
unfortunately.
yeah, I'll probably, I mean,
I don't even want to think about when I have to, do my brakes on my car.
yeah, I mean, if you're getting a classic car, you're going to be spending money on it. And I didn't have any false delusions going into it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be rebuilding this thing as I travel in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I love it, man. Every time I see it, it makes me smile. So I'm like,
dude, that's amazing, man. I think that's important.
I love I don't know, just traveling in it, living in it. It's like a space that I enjoy. So,
well, that's crucial.
Yeah.
And that's part of the magic of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that for everybody who's doing the van life, every single van is unique to the person living in it. Like,
absolutely,
it has yet to be this generic kind of experience. Like, there's no such thing as the like suburban cookie cutter development of like where there's only like 5 different types of houses and you just pick one. It's like in the van life community, you have so many different types of vehicles for one that people will convert, whether it's like a school bus or an ambulance or a box truck or a step van or a minivan or whatever. But then once you get into each of those categories, they're all specifically customized like for that person's vision and their flair and their style of what they're into.
Yeah, everybody just kind of tailors it to their needs and comes up with their own little kind of creative creations.
Yeah.
And when they're just building their space, it's cool.
Do you have a name for your van?
Windsor.
Why Windsor?
So that is actually, the fine Canadian spirit, of course.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's the name of the engine. So the engine is 302 V8. It used to be like one of the most common American engines. So, like, it's kind of like the precursor engine to like the modern day like F-150.
Wow.
And yeah, it used to be the most common like Ford engine. It's just what's called the Windsor engine. So
How many cylinders?
V8.
It's V8.
Yeah, it's a V8.
Sick.
So it's what
got some power in that thing, man.
Hell yeah, baby. It's the same engine that used to go in the old Mustangs.
That's tight.
So,
dude, mine's a 4-cylinder.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
What? A 4-cylinder?
Yeah.
For Mercedes?
Yeah.
Damn.
Gas 4-cylinder.
That's how they get such good MPG, I guess.
Maybe. But the thing that surprises me is like it's a van. It's meant for carrying things.
Yeah. That's
only 4 cylinders, but
kind of mind blowing.
Yeah. In hindsight, I kind of wish that I had gone the diesel route. Well, okay. In hindsight, okay. If I could have, if the market, it was easier to get vans, and if the money was there, I definitely would have gone like 4x4 diesel.
Yeah, we all would, right? They're sweet.
And that's why I would have done it, because I feel like that's what people want too. People want the 4x4 diesel.
Yeah.
So even though mine's not
want a 4x4 someday.
So my brother and I, we still have our first van that we lived in, and it's a Mazda MPV.
What? And
it's 4-wheel drive.
No way.
And this thing is on its last leg. It was our childhood van. Like, we grew up in that thing in car seats. It's 1998. But what I really want to do is completely gut it and just turn it into a monster. Just turn it into something crazy.
Why not?
Like, jack it up, put some all-terrain tires on there, just do like an engine swap on it, because it actually is not too expensive to buy an engine for those things. Okay. I found one on eBay for like $1,800, and I was like, man, I would love to have this as a project one summer, learn how to swap out an engine.
Oh yeah.
$1,800 for an engine? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's just like a summer of fun right there.
Dude, 100%, man. Sign me up. And then the thing about that van is, like, you can't stand in it. It's a minivan.
Yeah.
So I'd probably want to just turn it into more of like a weekend warrior kind of style setup, where like it's like you could camp in it, but it's like perfect just for like little getaways and not like permanent living.
Yeah, just make it, like a toy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little
No, I would.
Little adventure rig.
If I ever have friggin' 4 months
Yeah, right.
and 30 grand in my pocket that I'm not putting towards anything else.
Hey, we'll get there someday.
Oh man.
Get to a point in life where we're just, I don't know, building out vans and building campgrounds and all that fun stuff.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about the campgrounds, man. Let's talk about
the campgrounds.
about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're going deep into the van life community, man.
Yeah, I am. So I joined a new business venture recently called Van Life Campgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's a collective effort to kind of build an infrastructure of campgrounds around the country, like a network that's geared towards the van life community. So, basically campgrounds that are kind of more community focused. Like you think there's tons of RV campgrounds around and tons of the big state park campgrounds, and like they're fine to stay at and stuff, but it's not the greatest place to go to like meet like-minded people, like, you know, like make friends and stuff. And there's a lot of there's just a large amount of people, like solo van lifers out there traveling around that, you know, really like to go to, you know, events, places like that to meet others and also just to have a nice place to hunker down for the week sometimes, that have just kind of some basic amenities, have a little break from BLM land.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the founder who started it, he's trying to kind of fill that market right there.
Mm-hmm.
So basically we'd be establishing those campgrounds through a community funded, like crowdfunding model.
Mm-hmm.
That would enable nomads to kind of have equity in these campgrounds. So the first one right now that he built himself is in Joshua Tree. The next one, which is fully funded already, is going to be in Bisbee, Arizona. And there's
Bisbee,
more.
I think I've heard about Bisbee.
It's a funky little mountain town near the Mexican border. Pretty cool. There's a big van life event there too. That's actually.
Did it just happen?
It just happened. Weird Wild West or something.
That's the one that I got invited to.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's in Bisbee.
That's why that name sounded familiar to me.
Yeah, so definitely like a van life type town. And there's more planned for like Taos, New Mexico, ones in Baja, Colorado, Oregon. So basically, you know, if you wanted to kind of have a stake in that, and I still don't know the specific details of how that fractionalized ownership would work. But you could, you know, contribute funds or labor, you know, show up and help build it.
Mm-hmm.
So it provides an opportunity for, you know, nomads who, especially since so many are like priced out of like the modern day housing market, so hard to get a house these days, it provides an opportunity to, you know, potentially build wealth.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, one approach to building more campgrounds. The other is through partnering with existing campgrounds that are kind of fit the vibe,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like, you know, are willing to, you know, meet our price point and stuff, and just kind of have the basic amenities that we're looking for, which isn't anything too crazy because we're pretty self-sufficient. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, you want to have water, you know, bathroom, showers, preferably, some areas to hang out. So what I'm doing, I'm a location scout, and as I travel around the U.S., I'm looking for campgrounds on different platforms and stuff like HipCamp or iOverlander, or just ones that I see,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that might be a good fit. And I try to contact the owners and, you know, you learn more about their operation and see if they'd be interested in tapping in, because it's a good opportunity for them to kind of tap into a community driven, you know, network, basically
Right.
open up a new, maybe not a new, but an additional like customer stream.
Totally.
And it's also open to people just with that have land, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
want to repurpose it, that want to build a campground. Maybe he's even working on putting a course together on how to build
Wow.
the specific kind of campground that we're looking for,
That's really cool.
because he's done it himself.
I got to come check out this campground in Joshua Tree.
Josh, it's sweet.
Is there a name for that campground?
Van Camp J Tree.
Okay.
So they're all called Van Camp.
Okay.
Like Van Camp, you know, Zion, Van Camp, Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Those are some of our partners.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm going to be doing while I'm on the road.
That's sick. And what did you say the name was of this company again?
Van Life Campgrounds, VLC. So
Van Life Campgrounds.
Yeah, there's the founder, his name's Aiden, super sharp dude. He built the website and everything, and has been doing all the marketing so far. And
how did you get connected with him?
I think I just stumbled upon the website.
Yeah,
because I think I was just looking for like stuff or like events happening maybe on the Van Life app, and there was one that was posted at the van camp in Joshua Tree, and I was like, what's this place? And I'd never even heard of it. And then I like found the website, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, because he's a marketing background, so it's like the website is actually just pretty well designed.
Yeah, it looks really clean.
Yeah, it's super clean. Today. So I was like, all right, whoever built this like knew what they were doing. And then he has a lot of information just about like the program, about how you can invest. And then I just saw some like jobs at the bottom, and I was like, I'm just curious, like what jobs they're looking for. And then I found the location scout thing. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, and I was kind of hoping to, because now that I work in like the business world, but it's not like I went to school for or anything. I've been wanting to kind of develop in that kind of sales realm of like sales and negotiation. I was like really kind of, I don't know, planning to go to seminars or something. I was just like, I just need to get better at that, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can actually just do it. Actually promoting something that I think is awesome, you know, and is believe in. So it's kind of just felt like fate almost, you know, exactly what I was looking for.
That's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah.
This is pretty recent too, that you've started with them, right?
Yeah, about a month ago.
Crazy. I'm excited to see where this goes.
I think it has great potential. Yeah, because it's definitely, because I just think about like when I was and am traveling around, I don't look for campgrounds that much as a van lifer, because I can provide my own power, yada yada, and usually I just stick to BLM land, but sometimes I do. And when I do, I'm looking like on the platforms for the exact kind of campground that he's looking to build. One that's like, you know, reasonably priced, kind of has like a cool vibe to it. Looks like it's kind of place that like promotes community, you know, place where you might be able to make some friends. Cause you know, it's a lot of like, you know, it's a little weird going up and talking to people on like BLM land and stuff. So it's like, I usually don't do that.
I'm not going to lie, man. That kind of like freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah. I just
mostly because I'm not as familiar with that. Like I'm not in my element.
You're an urban van lifer.
I'm an urban van lifer, man. When I'm on BLM land, I'm like, oh my goodness, what? I'm in the wild right now.
Yeah, it's a little weird. The only time I've like really hung out with people is when I just so happen to park near someone that I know, which sounds crazy, but it's actually happened now like 3 times.
Like just randomly, you guys coincidentally park. Okay, that's
like,
cool.
Like I just literally did that last week in the BLM land near Joshua Tree. Yeah, a couple that I met at this Tiny Fest thing, a van life gathering. I saw him like we follow each other on Instagram. I saw him post where he was. I was like, oh, he's definitely out on the BLM land. Yeah. So I sent him a message, and then it's this giant, you know, dried up lake. So it's a huge area. Yeah. There's a ton of vans out there, but they're all so far apart that it's kind of hard to. Whoa. But I could just tell that the nearest one to me, which was still pretty far away, was his trailer, because he converted a cargo trailer that they tow with a truck.
Sick.
It's basically like a studio apartment that he tows around. It's amazing.
I wanted to do that.
You would love it.
I wanted to do that. It was like my original thought.
Yeah.
Was to do that.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, I'm literally right next to you. So we hung out. We had a campfire.
That's sweet.
You know, had a good time.
So with the BLM land, you have like an app, right? Is the iOverlander? Is that what you use to find BLM land?
Yeah, there's probably 5 apps similar to that, but I just like iOverlander, so that's usually what I use.
Yeah. And are there any kind of like geographical or geological like features that you're looking for of like where to park for the night? Like what do you when you roll onto some BLM land, what are you looking for in terms of like an ideal parking spot?
Flat.
Yeah.
That's about it. Flat and, I don't know, a little bit of space to kind of sprawl out, maybe put a table out, which like on J-Tree's BLM land, that is easy because it's literally a dried up lake bed. So it's nothing but this flat, it's flat area, like just kind of endless.
Do you have to go off road when you're on BLM land?
Yeah. The roads are going to be a little bumpy. So it kind of varies depending on where you are. Sometimes it's a little harder to find a spot. Like the J-Tree one is just like, well, I'll just keep driving until this seems fine. But other times you got to kind of mosey around, find an area that's not covered in bushes or, that's actually flat enough.
Have you ever gotten stuck?
I haven't gotten stuck yet.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think Lexi and Nate.
Yeah, they got stuck one time. Katie got stuck too.
She did? Oh, man.
Yeah, all around like Yucca Valley or whatever, or near Joshua Tree. They got stuck in the sand.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Watch me get stuck in the sand on the freaking BLM land. Out of my element.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty good at avoiding that just because of where I learned to drive like growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So in like Vermont mountain roads, where it's pretty easy to get stuck, and if you do, then good chance you're gonna be out there for a while.
Oh man!
So I'm like,
at least I got a fridge and solar.
Oh yeah, right.
At least I could just be stuck out here.
Yeah, I'll probably get stuck at some point, but it hasn't happened yet.
That's good, man. Knock on wood. Yeah. I was gonna ask you, what's your solar setup like?
Kind of minimal. I don't have much. I like my van, but that's the downside is the roof doesn't have a lot of surface area for solar. So I have 180 watt. I got thin, flexible ones, which are really.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Really sweet. Highly recommend those if you're trying to cut down on weight.
And wind resistance.
Yes, and wind resistance. And then there's this company. It's called Merlin Solar. They make ones in like different shapes.
Interesting.
So kind of outside of the typical, rectangular, whatever the dimensions are, shape. So they make, like, mine is like super square-like. So it fits really well with like my roof size. And they make like really long, narrow ones too.
That's cool.
Yeah, so they're pretty cool. And I have enough space for another 120 watt up there. I even have the circuit wired ready to go to add another. I just haven't done it yet.
So you have 100 watts of solar.
I have 180 on the roof, and then I have another fold-out panel from the same company that's 200.
Sweet.
So that's just in my cargo box, and when I'm like out in the desert, I can just pull that out, and that has its own dedicated charge controller. So I have two different charge controllers.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you said you have 5 batteries.
Yeah.
Are they each 100 amp hours?
Yeah.
50?
100 amp hour batteries.
Oh, they're each 100. So you have 500 total.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty sweet.
Big battery bank.
So, I mean, honestly, I feel like you can get away with having less watts of solar panels if you have a huge battery bank because, to an extent. Yeah,
to an extent, for sure. You can go, like, if it's, that'll last me several days.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't use that much power day to day.
What are you actually powering with your solar?
Well, I mean, they just charge the batteries, but I got the fridge running.
Yeah.
The fan, the lights. There's a toilet fan now that runs at all hours, but it's very low draw.
Yeah. Is your fridge on DC or AC?
DC.
Nice.
It's a Dometic, yeah. So it's really efficient.
Nice.
Yeah, and just all the, I work day to day, so I'm always charging my computer and stuff like that. So
got it. That's maybe your biggest draw.
Probably the fridge, since it's 24 hours.
But it's I wonder if...
I think it draws about an amp or two an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have an inverter for your computer, obviously.
I actually have those wired to DC circuits.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, how? So you're plugging in your computer?
Uh-huh.
But it's...
No, I use car charger.
Oh.
So, yeah, I have these, Blue C, little USB ports, and then it also has the little port for a car charger in it.
Yeah.
I have a couple of those in the back. So,
Whoa, so you don't have an inverter at all?
No, I do. I have an inverter charger.
Okay.
It's a 2,000 watt Victron inverter charger. So it does both charging when you plug into shore power.
Nice.
And it powers AC. It's like both those things.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's really sweet.
That's cool.
But yeah, a little hack. So if you're a digital nomad, and obviously you're going to be charging your computer all the time, if they make a car charger, definitely get that, and just get one of those little, you can get them on Amazon and stuff, little sockets where you plug in like the cigarette lighter type chargers. And that's what I have my laptop plugged into. So it saves you a little bit.
Yeah.
So anytime you can go DC, it's always more efficient.
Interesting. So you charge, you do that from your car or from your Battleborn battery system?
It's just wired into my 12 volt circuit.
Okay,
so
cool.
It comes from my Battleborn batteries. Yeah.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of my electrical system. It's pretty badass.
Dude, the electrical is crazy. Yeah. That for me was the hardest thing.
It's really hard.
The electrical.
Yeah.
What do you think was your hardest system to build?
For me, like just the most painful one, like the gas was really hard. Like the copper plumbing was hard, doing the flared connections and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the electrical was definitely very challenging to understand and learn and like comprehend. But once you got all that and you'd screwed up a couple times, like the actual physical work is like not that hard.
No, you're just connecting things.
Yeah, you're just connecting things. It's just like, all right, strip the wire.
Yeah.
You know, find the right lug or, you know, terminal ring, crimp it on there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Heat shrink.
Yeah.
But yeah, copper plumbing that is like really frustrating.
It's interesting to me you had to do the copper plumbing, but I guess that's because you had to run an actual line to get to the propane.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to. I just wanted to do this in like the best, safest way possible. Yeah. You know, like that's better than running a long hose. You know?
Yeah. Mine was like the easiest thing in the world because it came with a hose. And then all I had to do was, wait a minute. No, it didn't come with a hose. I must have gotten a hose because I put an adapter on there because it's the camp. I think what I have is called like a chef camp or something like that. Camp chef.
Yeah, we got the same thing.
Yeah, it's basically just you take those little like the mini green propane tanks and you just screw it on and then turn it on. So I had to adapt that so that I could go to an actual refillable propane tank.
Yeah, I had an adapter on mine too.
And I guess I put a hose on there.
Yeah.
A short hose. But
I ended up I did something kind of similar because it's hard. It was hard to run copper like all the way up into the van. So what I actually have is one of those yellow flexible like steel hoses.
Interesting.
That go into the back of like dryers.
Yeah, I feel like I can imagine what that is.
Yeah, so that's what actually connects to my copper pipe and goes up into the back of the oven.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You just can get if you get into these projects, you'll just find that there's all sorts of different like materials and stuff you can use. And like it was a guy in Ace Hardware who gave me that idea.
Oh yeah.
So it's like sometimes just talking to the
I like the people at Ace Hardware, dude, man. The people at Home Depot don't know shit.
No, they know nothing.
The people at Ace Hardware, those are the people who actually know something.
Yes, absolutely. I've had multiple people at Ace give me like good suggestions and pointers on things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, man, big shout out to Ace Hardware. I did a lot of my build in Oregon. And I would go to Ace Hardware so much.
Yeah, me too, man. I love Ace.
Yeah, it's expensive, but hey, if you pay for the knowledge that you're getting, then I feel like it's worth it.
Yeah.
So
I like smaller stores too, like not having to spend so much damn time like wandering around this enormous warehouse.
Yeah, I like Home Depot. Don't get me wrong. I love Home Depot. I love Lowe's.
Yeah, nothing against it. Yeah.
Though the people who work at those places, I feel like just never.
Oh, they don't know anything.
Never.
No.
There's no point in even asking.
No.
There's no point in asking. Like, pull out your phone, look on Google, like just wander around. Don't waste your time asking for advice. Like,
yeah, pretty much. I'd spend so much time like in Home Depot, just like kind of visualizing like projects, you know, because it'd be like, all right, I want to like build this, and then I'd just be in there like kind of thinking about like the space in the van, like what I was trying to build, and like looking at all the different pieces and stuff.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know, I spent a lot of time doing that.
I know the feeling.
Friday nights in Home Depot, man.
Yeah, I think having done a van already now, if I were to go do it again, and if I had all the money in one lump sum, I would and a warehouse, I would buy everything in one swoop. And just have it all in the warehouse, organized and ready to go.
Yep.
That would probably speed up the process of building a van by
a lot.
80%.
Yeah.
The amount of time that I spent driving to Home Depot, driving to other hardware stores, driving to supply stores, back and forth, realizing I didn't have something.
Didn't realize, that you have the wrong size bolt or some shit.
I spent so much time.
Yeah, me too.
With that. And or like waiting to order a piece or order something from Amazon, you're waiting to get it, or wherever you're getting it, like ordering it from. If it was all just right there, dude, I bet you if I had somebody helping me and I had a shop with everything in it, I bet you I could build a van in a month.
It's not like unrealistic if like that was your full time, if you're doing that all day, every day.
Yeah, all day, every day.
Yeah.
I mean, those would probably be like 12-hour days.
Yeah, that'd be a grind.
Actually, they'd probably be longer than 12-hour days.
It'd be like a serious grind.
But I feel like I could do it.
If there was a lift or something, because like if you got to do work underneath it, that shit's always just so hard.
Yeah, I didn't have to do anything too crazy underneath mine.
That's
really the only thing I had to do
around under mine.
Yeah, putting in those water tanks.
The water, the pipes, the gas. Yeah.
Did you have to lift up your car at all to get those things under, or
no? It was just like struggling brute force. I think I used like stumps because I was at my cabin. Like crawled under there and I found the right stump that was like the right size, or like from wood we'd chopped, and I just kind of like propped it up there.
That's hilarious.
And bolted it. I made like a metal frame out of galvanized steel and ended up bolting that to the frame of the vehicle. Yeah.
Nice.
Just something I found on YouTube.
Did you grow up building or like?
No.
I
didn't know shit. That's part of why I wanted to like.
Dang.
It's part of why I wanted to do van life. Is I was like, I feel kind of useless, like not knowing how to really use tools or like build stuff, and so I was just like, I want to learn that, and it was like building out a van, like it's like going to trade school almost.
Dude, you have to learn every single trade.
You learn, like, I know how to use like angle grinders.
Hell
and
yeah,
all these
man.
saws
I love my angle grinder.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's probably my favorite tool that I bought.
Me too. I love my angle grinder too.
That thing is insane. Cut through anything.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Like my little desk setup that you saw, all that framing, that was like all angle grinder.
Oh, sick.
You know?
Yeah, angle grinders are tight, man.
Hell yeah.
Did you go to Harbor Freight much to buy tools? Ever?
A couple.
Yeah.
Usually really random ones, like my plastic welding kit. The only place that like sells the plastic welder is Harbor Freight.
Really?
So yeah.
Dude, I went to Harbor Freight all the time.
Really?
I didn't know about Harbor Freight
good
before the van build.
Yeah.
Changed my life. I walked in there because my buddy was like, dude, we got to go to Harbor Freight. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, Harbor Freight's cool.
We walk in, I start looking at the prices, and I was like, oh my God, this is paradise.
Yeah.
This is the coolest.
Way cheaper.
Coolest store I've ever been to in my life. I'm like a big gear person. Like I love gear and gadgets, whether it's music or tools. I love it. Yeah. Always been that way.
Me too.
And yeah, I had so much fun acquiring a lot of new tools for that build.
Yeah.
Funny enough, along the way,
well, I gotta go spend $300 again on these tools. Oh well.
Yeah. You know what's funny too? Okay, I got two funny Harbor Freight stories. So I got there their credit card because they had like this big deal that was like, if you get a credit card with Harbor Freight, you get like 10% off your first purchase with the credit card. And I was like, oh, that'll be sick. I'll just wait until I make like a massive purchase. I'll just drop like a few $1,000s and get like a whole shop, and then 10% off, you know, save like $300. And it's 5% cash back, I think, for every single purchase, just in general. I still haven't used that card because I'm still waiting for like the moment that I make this like massive purchase and just buy a ton of stuff. But I probably spent hundreds of dollars there, not on the card, not getting the 5% cash back, because I've been waiting to do like my big like walk in and just buy like $2,000 worth of tools. I don't know when that day is gonna come.
That's how they get you.
That is cards. Well, but I haven't even used it yet.
Yeah,
I haven't even used that card yet because I'm still waiting for the moment. But
it'll come.
The other funny story is they have that membership. Like you can have a membership at Harbor Freight and you get like special deals and stuff. So they would always offer it to me and I would always say no. And then eventually I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just do it. And then the woman who gave it to me, somehow she inputted my information in wrong. And then I went there like another time and they were looking at my membership and they're like, oh, that's weird. They said like it doesn't expire until 2026. And I got it in 2022 and they only do like 2-year memberships. So somehow they gave me a 4-year membership.
Damn.
For the price of 2 years.
VIP must be all those hundreds of dollars you're spending there.
Dude, for real, man. I have dropped some serious money at Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's nothing more exciting than getting a new tool.
It is.
And then immediately using it.
Yep.
Like, I had to do this job recently where I was installing these, I was building and installing these like black pipe clothing racks. And I had to get a hammer drill for drilling through the concrete so that I could anchor them to the concrete.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, this thing is bad.
That's badass.
It's got a massive drill bit too.
Nice.
And this thing just fucking goes. Like, it makes it so easy to drill through concrete, which if you've ever tried drilling through concrete with a regular drill, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've done that before and it's not fun.
No. Yeah, it is amazing like when you get the right tool for the right job, like it actually makes it fun, because if you don't, it sucks. It's miserable. You hate your life.
Yeah.
And you get the right tool and you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Did you have to do many kind of like plywood cuts or any kind of like work with like a table saw or a circular saw at all?
Yeah, I had to do some of that. I that was actually the first thing that I did up at the cabin is I did some carpentry work. Because I did end up building like the bed frame and replacing a lot of the wood.
Yeah.
And like getting wood on the doors and stuff. The doors were bare and like the corners. So yeah, actually my first part of the project was actually doing a lot of cuts with circular saw. Didn't have a table saw. I was able to get away without a table saw though.
Nice.
Just gotta like keep a straight line, you know?
Dude, I'm still trying to learn how to actually cut, like rip plywood with a circular saw.
Yeah.
And do it in a way that I'm satisfied with. Like,
it's hard.
It is hard. I was working on like some very old, very ancient machinery in the shop that it was somebody's garage who was letting me use the space to build out my van. And I was working on this like 50-year-old table saw.
Oh no.
In a tiny space where ripping plywood, it would never be like perfectly straight cut. It would always be
just off by a little bit.
Tiny bit off. Oh man.
That sounds kind of scary too. 50-year-old saw. Be like, is this saw blade just gonna fly out? I was just thinking that that Johnny Cash movie about Johnny Cash.
Yeah, and his brother.
His brother like kills himself on a table saw.
Yeah, dude. It's like the saw like it goes right through his chest or something.
Yeah.
I remember that scene. That scene is gnarly.
Yeah. I always think about that when I like I haven't used table saws that much, but yeah.
That's probably good, man. That's probably why you're still alive, you know?
Yeah, right? Yeah, I just think about that Johnny Cash movie.
You can't mess around when it comes to machinery and saws and,
Yeah.
you know, people lose their fingers.
Yeah, I got all mine still, fortunately. So
That's good, man. Yeah. So what is your day-to-day typically like? I know that you work remotely. I know that you do stuff in data science.
Yep.
So what is a typical day in the life like, man?
Yeah, I work East Coast time, you know, like Monday through Friday. So I usually got meetings like pretty early.
What's up, Luke?
Hey, you might have to edit me out. I just wanted to.
That's all right. That's all right.
What's up? How's it going, man?
How was Nils from?
He's friendly.
Yeah, it seems all right.
Hey, yeah, sorry. Hey, quick growling.
All right.
Knock it off.
Guys.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know why he does that sometimes.
He was like, I just finally got settled. Then this new person arrived.
Like, you know how friendly he is, but he always he'll greet people like that. And be like intimidating. It's like, why you gotta do that, man?
It's all the front.
I do like it when he does that to intruders at the van, though. Like
Intruders at the van.
Yeah.
Do you have intruders at the van often?
Not really, but he just lets them know, you know, I'm getting too close.
Yeah.
And if anybody ever has the audacity to do the knock, then he'll usually scare the shit out of him.
The knock.
'Cause he's usually down in his bed and it'll startle him, and
Yeah.
he's got a big scary bark. You know?
I believe it. It's probably loud in the van too.
Yeah. I mean, he sounds like a 100-pound dog when he
Yeah.
really barks. Like he's got this hound bellow.
Oof.
So I've only gotten the knock a couple times, but anytime it has happened, he's scared the crap out of whoever did it.
Yeah. Where have you been when you've gotten the knock?
I feel like it was all in Arizona.
Like in
Happened-
like a suburban.
Yeah, it was
urban
Scottsdale.
Mm.
So probably just best not to camp in Scottsdale. You know, that area is
Yeah.
kind of uppity.
Were you in a parking lot though, or?
Yeah, I was in a parking lot.
Yeah, I think I try not to do parking lots because I feel like parking lots, usually they're monitored. They're like, there's a security or there's something, and they'll knock on your window and tell you to go.
Yeah, it was weird. I was even in a Walmart, which is like normally pretty standard fine to camp in.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and like 3 other campers got booted out. And once I was in a park, and it was an actual cop, but he was fine. He was friendly. And
Yeah.
it's never been bad. It's just kind of annoying, you know.
Yeah, it's super annoying.
Especially when it's like some little punk ass security guard, like 18-year-old or something. It's like seriously.
I have the best luck with neighborhoods. I feel like neighborhoods are super chill. But my van is also stealthy.
Yeah, mine is the opposite of stealthy. Yours is
Surfboard on the side.
surfboard, yeah.
Old 70s Econoline.
Yep.
Yeah, but then again, I feel like it fits in right here in LA, man.
Oh yeah, it's
Totally.
definitely a Southern California.
Especially in
van.
Venice. Oh, dude, you look like you're just.
I should probably go to
You know?
Venice, catch some waves.
Yeah, man. It's a little bit harder. Venice is weird for parking a van
Yeah.
just because they're pretty strict with a lot of things. But that being said, a lot of people do it. So I think your van would be fine because you probably are within the like height and length restriction. I'm not. I'm too tall.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
But check it out, man.
Yeah, definitely. I
But-
like Venice. Funky
Venice
little
is
area.
Venice is cool, man. I love
Yeah,
Venice.
Muscle Beach.
Yeah. But anyways, we're talking about your daily routine. So you said you're on East Coast time, right?
Yeah. So, my company, the consulting firm that I work for is kind of based in like Boston, and they have like New York City office too. So yeah, usually I got, meetings starting around, lately it hasn't been too bad. Usually it's just 8 o'clock or so for me. But sometimes, I'll have like 6 a.m. meetings, sometimes even like 5 a.m. meetings.
Oof.
Not too often, but so yeah, usually just, get up, get moving. I really need to be a better morning person, like you were asking me earlier. Like I always think like, oh, how great would it be if I'm up an hour before work, I get a walk. Sometimes that happens, usually not.
Yeah.
Kind of a night owl. So I kind of just get up and work for a while, and then usually if I got some time off, I'll like, just make some breakfast, walk the dog for a bit, and then kind of like settle back into the work day. I got a pretty nice little office set up, so it all depends on where I am. You
Yeah.
know, if I'm like in an urban environment like here, I'll usually try and go post up like at a park or something for the day, somewhere where there's a bathroom outside, somewhere where I can like, get the dog, coat outside easily. Here, California's been great because, I just go to the beach
Yeah.
usually. I've been around like north, San Diego County a lot for the last couple months. So usually you're not allowed to like stay overnight by the beach, but you can just get there right away in the morning. There's like the state beaches are pretty nice. There's bathrooms there. Just a nice place to hang out during the day, and then I can walk the dog along the beach. So it all depends on the environment I'm in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd usually just find a place to kind of post up and work for the day. And, I like, sometimes I'll switch it up. I'll go to a coffee shop, for a while.
How long are your work days?
Depends on the day. It's one thing I like about consulting is it's definitely kind of like a work hard, play hard kind of thing. And my company's pretty good about, like when it's work time, it's work time. If you're like tight deadline, like sometimes there'll be some pretty long days.
Yeah.
Like 10 plus hour days.
Yeah.
Not too often though. And then some days I'm like, it'll be like 2:00 and I won't have any more meetings, and I'll just be like, I'm gonna go surf or something. Like,
that's sick.
And just kind of wrap up early. But it's more just about are you producing? Are you doing your job well?
Yeah.
So some days I work a lot, some days I don't. Some days I don't work at all. Like
amazing.
Yeah.
And you're just on salary, or is what? Nice.
Yeah. So it's nice because I got, these side hustles too. So it makes it so that, if I got a day that's not too jam-packed for my day job, I can put some time and energy into those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So your job is within the world of data analytics, but you specifically do business intelligence. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So how do you differentiate business intelligence from data analytics?
Well, it's part of it. Like data analytics would be a whole kind of like, there's a lot of roles and responsibilities that kind of fall under that umbrella. So data kind of it goes on like a journey, I guess.
Okay.
When you're, pulling data out of like a source application, like you walk through your example, say like you own a brewery or something, and, data that you track daily would obviously be, your front end sales, like, beer and food and stuff. So think of like, Square. Yeah. That's a common like POS system that a lot of restaurants use. So like every time a customer swipes their card, pays for, beer or whatever, like that data is going to go probably up into like a cloud database, like maintained by Square or something like that. And then, there's going to be a whole orchestration process to move the data from like that database to like a more curated one, maybe set up for that brewery, by, analytics specialists. And then data kind of like moves through stages, in a pipeline for like both long-term storage, and like longitudinal analysis, and also just for kind of like your daily like operations and whatnot. So there's a whole kind of slew of processes that happen, to be able to, do data analytics.
Right.
And mine is definitely more focused on kind of like the front end of that. So that's one thing I like about my role, but there's a whole other roles involved. There's, data engineers who are more like, writing SQL code and stuff, and kind of like doing transformations on the data, kind of curating it into, a model that I can use to actually, build out a front end, dashboard or report.
Yeah. And when you say dashboard, that's just basically where the aggregate information is being displayed.
Yeah, pretty much.
So in like an easily intelligible way.
Yeah,
for the client.
It's like building an app out of their data.
Yeah.
So
like an example would
like
be
interactive and visually appealing.
like would an example be on the dashboard for like daily sales? It would say like you had this many transactions, like you had 100 transactions. You would be creating basically like the system and the display that would show that would pull from the cloud of like, okay, there were, we had 100 credit card transactions. This information went to the cloud, and now it is going to your system that you are pulling from the cloud to display that information as like a nice, easy number of like 100.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah, we call those like KPIs, key performance indicators. So, and that's where, I work pretty closely with like business leaders, business owners to understand, because like they're always going to know their business better than I do.
Yeah.
So it's always kind of a collaborative process of understanding. It's kind of like you have to put yourself in their mind of like, all right, let's say I'm a brewery owner. What do I want to know about my business? Like both kind of in the day to day and then maybe in like midterm and long-term strategies, So usually you'll work pretty closely with the client to kind of figure out, what they need to know or want to know about their business in the day-to-day and the long term to be able to, just understand what's going on, just kind of know like the financial health of their business and whatnot, and be able to kind of like make future decisions and kind of long-term strategies and whatnot.
That's cool. So when you're beginning a project, is that the first step? Is you meeting with the client to discuss like what exactly what kind of information they're trying to get? Yeah,
usually.
That's cool.
Usually it's like, we'll start out with the intro. Sometimes you just kind of get thrown into stuff too.
Yeah.
You don't always get that luxury. It's kind of like somebody else will just get you up to speed, and you're kind of just, so trying to learn yourself on the fly as much as possible.
Yeah. You use the example of Square. But are you oftentimes like having to integrate like your system with like all sorts of other different, I guess you could call them like data gathering sources? Like Square is one data gathering source, but there's also like a ton of different POS systems.
Yep.
Not to mention like businesses that don't use point of service but have other ways of gathering data.
Yeah.
You're always having to like, how do you integrate your process with like all these different systems?
Yeah, good question. It's all going to kind of depend on like the type of business, and then, what Square is like a pretty nice, clean one, so hopefully they're like paying for that. But there's definitely some businesses that are using like really old, outdated kind of data, like collection and storage technologies, things like Microsoft Dynamics, stuff like that. A lot of bigger companies still have a lot of data. Like the biggest difference is whether the data is stored on premises in their own servers or whether it's in the cloud.
Okay.
So there's a lot of businesses that still maintain their own servers like on site. So that's like typically a little more of a process to be able to connect to those, but it's all going to vary by client, but and kind of industry. But there's tons and tons of different data generating applications out there that vary by industry. So I'm like working with financial services firm right now, and there's like 4 or 5 applications that we're working with that are just unique to like financial services and like fund accounting.
Interesting.
So it's like for each one you have to kind of figure out how you're gonna get that data, which is more outside of my realm. I only know like kind of surface level how that all goes.
So is there actually a separate person whose job it is to get you that data? Okay.
Yeah, usually we're collaborating, with the clients, like IT department. That's an area that's kind of called like DevOps.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's like the operations of development, I guess.
Yeah.
So their whole job is basically to kind of figure out how to integrate and like to those systems and orchestrate the processes of like bringing that data in a secure way, because obviously security is huge, and like the data engineers are involved in that too. So I'm less focused on that, but I mean, it's we're all part of a team, and we're all working together. So,
and with what you do, are you more so creating like real time data analysis dashboards as opposed to like reports of like a period of time?
I think I haven't done too much real time. There's definitely like a place for that.
Yeah.
I think, mostly I've just been building, data models that will like, generate, create a dashboard that's like usually on like a monthly time scale or something like that, or like weekly.
Got it.
Like financial and accounting reporting, stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's like a set, like it's set in motion. It will like update
so it's
like
complete, it's fully automated.
Okay.
That's the big difference. Is like a lot of companies, they're like doing that every month, and somebody's like whole job is to do that, and they're doing it completely manually. Like in Excel. Yeah. It's more error prone. It's messier. There's less governance of it. Right. You got a bunch of different people all doing it. So there's different. It's all fragmented and kind of a mess. People come up with different numbers, and even just like they can lack alignment on like the language of how they talk about their business. Could be like one person could be like, "This is what a product means," and another person be like, "No, this is what a product means." Right. Which sounds silly, but it actually
could be catastrophic.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know. It just results in a lot of confusion and, less efficiency and whatnot. Like a good metaphor for it, I feel like, for just like how impactful it can be, is I read this in a book that, 9/11, the FBI or I forget, FBI, I think, CIA, I think one of the two. Yeah. Whoever's like does the counterterrorism stuff.
I think they both do.
Yeah. I forget. Yeah, they both do. But either way, government entity, they had all the information that they needed to like know that 9/11 was going to happen, have all those details and like be able to go out and stop it. Yeah. But it was just all those different pieces were all like in different parts of like the organization, and their whole information sharing system was so outdated. Like they're literally still like using paper filing systems and stuff like that. Wow. In the early 2000s. Wow. Like it was that inefficient. So, yeah. So just that level of inefficiency made those details get missed, and, they could have prevented that from happening if they'd been more kind of like connected and information and gotten to the right people at the right time. So they did a massive overhaul on that. And now they have a whole cloud fully, cloud database where people can get answers like instantly. And if they'd had something like that at that time, really 9/11 probably wouldn't have happened. Wow. So that's obviously a very extreme example. Yeah. But, take that same idea and apply it to trying to like manage, a multi-million-dollar company. Sure.
There's a lot that can get lost in the bureaucracy of it all. Yeah. Lost in translation. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of I've seen it firsthand. Yeah. The inefficiencies that exist in the corporate world. Yeah. Just because it gets bogged down in the structure. What are some of the tools that you're using on like a day-to-day basis for what you do?
Mostly Power BI. Okay. So I'm like a Power BI developer, I guess, like by trade. It's kind of like my bread and butter. There's others that I kind of delve into too. Yeah. But that's like, what I'm good at, what I got hired for.
What are some of those other ones that you use as well?
There's one called Alteryx that my company's pretty big on. It's pretty sweet. It's basically like a ETL tool, like a data engineering tool. ETL is like extract, transform, load. Okay. So that's like a a phrase you'll hear a lot in like
Yeah.
the data kind of analytics sphere. So yeah, Alteryx is pretty cool. I've kind of used that a little bit. I mean, obviously, you mess around in Excel sometimes. I definitely interact with a lot. I don't actively develop in that environment very much, but Microsoft Azure,
Okay.
that's basically Microsoft's like cloud technology ecosystem. So, yeah, that's an area that I definitely like work in. That's like a whole universe in itself. You know,
Interesting.
there's 3 big cloud providers, which is Microsoft, Google, Amazon Web Services. So that's where they're pretty much the only 3.
Yeah.
And they all, just have. There's just tons of things that you can do within that sphere. Like that's where data is stored. You can build applications. You can do data science. You can, do all sorts of different things within those kind of environments. So I mess around in there sometimes, but not too much. There's just other people to do that.
Yeah.
So
I wonder.
I do what I'm good at.
I wonder what the privacy rules are. Like, if all these people are storing their data on Google, does Google have any kind of ability to use that data at all, or look at it, or do something with it, or it's
No, absolutely not.
that we know of?
No, they wouldn't, because like, I mean,
it would ruin their whole business model.
reputation. Companies aren't gonna put their data on a cloud provider if they're spying on them. You know? And what do they really have to gain from that? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I mean, this Chat GBT doesn't it gain its power from scraping basically like the entire internet, everything that's public?
Yeah.
Imagine if it had access to everything that was private in addition.
Yeah. Scary to think about.
I don't know, man. I mean, who knows? Maybe that'll be the next step.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, like, Microsoft and all of them pay probably just crazy amounts of money to all,
cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity people. There's literally almost nothing more important. And there's data leaks happen all the time. Like, my firm has a whole group just dedicated to like data security. Wow. And there's a Slack channel just for that.
Really?
And they post they're always posting news articles about data leaks.
Really?
Like all the time. And it's just crazy that many happen.
Yeah.
Like Capital One, credit cards, or like Google. So Google, like they'll get hacked sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's bad for them. It's not a good look. So, they're not gonna mess around with security.
Yeah, that is one advantage to paper. Is that,
right?
It's like, if it's locked in a file cabinet, the only way to get to it is break into that file cabinet. That stuff is crazy. I definitely get sketched out that my stuff isn't as secure as it like could be. There's like this thing that will pop up on my Google Chrome. I don't know, extension or whatever. Sometimes when I'm like putting in passwords and it will say like, you have 29 compromised passwords.
Yeah, I get that
like,
a lot.
Oh
too.
my goodness. Like what? Like I've tried to go through it before, and it's like a lot of like old websites and things that I just don't use anymore. And I'm like, I just need to burn it all and just start over.
I would recommend it because I wasn't taking that stuff very seriously.
Did you get hacked?
I did.
Whoa.
Pretty good too.
What kind of hack?
Like identity theft, like my bank account.
No
and, like, my PayPal.
way.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they got me good.
Did they drain your bank account?
Yeah, but
fuck, dude.
Yeah, but I was able to get it back. It was fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
That was in like January, and
no
it
way.
wasn't too long. Yeah, it was while I was like van lifing on the road. It was actually literally right before Skillypalooza.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was really not fun. And I think they like hacked my phone too. Like it was actually very stressful. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Because I had Mint Mobile, and literally like right before that happened, my phone basically stopped working. I had the SOS signal for like 2 weeks, or like a week. And like, so basically I had a non-working phone, and so I couldn't send or receive texts or anything. I couldn't call.
Yeah.
And like, that's how a lot of security is, like how you reset your passwords and stuff is all two-factor.
Yes.
So yeah. So while my phone wasn't working, that's when my bank account got hacked, and it like crippled my ability to deal with it, because I would call Wells Fargo and their frauds claim, they'd be like, they wouldn't help me because it'd be like, all right, they would need to send you a text message to confirm that it's you. And I'd just be like, I can't receive that. It was like, it was bad.
Dude, I experienced that last
felt like I was in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
That week.
The two-factor thing is intense. So last summer, it was so stupid, man. I was riding my motorcycle and my jacket wasn't zipped up all the way. And I was on the highway and it blew open and it was flapping in the wind, and I had my wallet in one pocket and my phone in the other pocket inside. And so they fell out onto the highway. And so I lost my wallet and my phone.
That sucks.
And so because of the two-factor verification, it was super hard to do like most things. I think I also wasn't on social media at the time either.
Yeah.
Or if I was, it was like barely. And so it was really hard to function. It was really hard to do anything. And
we're so connected to our phones.
Lost
now.
my license, my credit card, my debit card, and my phone. Dude, I was like basically not a person in this society without those things.
Like. Yeah,
it was bad. Which it's good that like the two-factor, I feel like, is good because
people are always trying to hack you.
It definitely makes things more secure.
Yeah.
But man, when you lose your phone,
it is crazy because that hadn't happened to me, and like I don't think I've ever really lost my phone for that long. But it kind of just, once it's not working and everything's on two-factor, it's like you literally can't function. It's like wild how just connected we are now.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even do my job if two-factor wasn't working. I need to do that just to get access to databases and stuff. Like
yeah.
All right. Mind if we pause?
All right, we're back. What were we talking about?
What were we talking about? It's all right, we can pick a new topic now.
I guess so. What got you into data science, data analytics, business intelligence, all that?
Yeah, I'd always been kind of attracted to the idea of like joining a startup, like a tech startup. I don't know, it just sounded kind of fun to me. I was working in healthcare before. Actually, like studied biochem. Spent a number of years working in like cancer research, kind of both in a lab and then also in a clinic. So I was, considering like, doing a PhD, and I was thinking about, like med school too, kind of like look down the barrel of like both those career paths. And I don't know, just was kind of resigned, like, okay, like this is what I studied, this is what I'll go do. But I don't know, definitely was interested in something that would just give me more freedom and like, flexibility. And while I was working in the oncology clinic, a buddy of mine, like he actually got fired from his like corporate job, like consulting job. Like he was like big into like analytics, Power BI, that kind of stuff. We'd get together, we'd play chess, we'd talk about it. I never really knew what he was talking about, but just be like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But kind of funny, he actually got fired from his job because he was like doing it too well.
Okay.
So he was big into, he kept telling me about Power BI, and they basically gave him a project that they're like, all right, this should take you like 3 months, in Excel. They're all like, Excel users. Yeah. And he turned around, he was like, oh, I can just like build a BI model for this. And he turned around, he did it in like 2 weeks, and it was like a fully automated solution.
Wow.
Like, yeah. and it was like way better than
Wow.
what they were hoping. And yeah, they just kind of they looked at him and they just kind of like freaked out. And I think he just wasn't really good at listening to people too. Wasn't much of a yes man. There's definitely like some folks who don't like new technology and like, you know, kind of revolutionary changes, because then it's just like, man, if I want to keep up with the times now, I gotta like learn this too, like kind of that kind of vibe. So they literally just fired him.
Crazy.
So he was like, well, screw this. I mean, he was actually he was laughing about it, and he was like, I'm just gonna start my own company.
Oh wow. How's he doing now?
So he started, his own analytics consultancy, and it was just him as a one-man ship for like a year.
Wow.
And we'd talk, you know, we'd get together, we'd play chess, we'd always talk about it, but he was picking up steam. He kept getting more work in like the Twin Cities area. So he was basically doing, you know, analytics consulting, mostly like, you know, using Power BI, like building Power BI models and dashboards for businesses. You know, bringing in SQL developers sometimes for just different businesses, small to mid-size, around like Twin Cities.
Yeah.
And eventually it was just picking up steam to the point where his brother quit his full-time like nice corporate job and like joined.
Wow.
And it was like, it was picking up steam, and then he's basically like, and I was definitely like interested in it too. It's just like this sounds kind of fun. So he basically told me, you know, like learn Power BI and, you know, you can hop on board too. So I just started just kind of learning on my own, just kind of doing my own independent learning. And they started giving me work. So like that's the beauty of like a startup, you know, and like you just kind of dive right in, you know. I didn't have to like go to school or anything like that. Most of my learning was just like kind of learning by doing. Yeah. You know, like that's right away I was like, you know, working on dashboards and stuff for like a local coffee shop chain. They just didn't know I was the one doing it. They'd go into the meetings and they loved it. It was like, I found that I was like pretty good at it right away, and that I found it to be kind of fun. So yeah, I just was doing it part-time for, I don't know, like 6 months or so, kind of in like the background. And then it just got to the point where I was like, all right, we got probably enough work where you can like do this full time. Dang. So yeah, I decided I was working in as a clinical trials coordinator in a oncology clinic at the time, which was fine. You know, was checking all the boxes to be able to go to like, you know, probably like osteopathic medical school or something like that. But yeah, I just decided to completely pivot, jump ship, and join the startup. And that's kind of funny. It was literally like right before lockdown happened for COVID. Yeah, it was like February of 2020 that I quit my job. Wow. And joined my buddy's company.
Yeah, so you were probably able to just keep working through COVID, right?
Yeah, I did, but it was just like a little freaky at first, because it was just like the economy grinded to a halt, and it was like I just quit my job with like health insurance and all that, and like, yeah, you know, it was like, you know, just doing basically just as a subcontractor. So it was like a little like, but it worked out fine. Like they had enough work to keep me busy through like that first year, but you know, unfortunately, like the company itself just didn't grow the way that you know we were hoping, just because, you know, our target audience, small to mid-sized companies, and literally the economy froze. Like everyone was locked down. So analytics is one of those things that, you know, a lot of companies want to invest in, and like it's really important, you know, especially, you know, nowadays. But like, you know, if money's tight, then it's not going to be immediately revenue generating. Right. So we just weren't able to really grow the way we wanted to. So after a year, but what I got good at though was in super high demand. So I was like getting hit up on LinkedIn for jobs like pretty often. Yeah. Even just being fairly new to it.
Yeah. So you're completely self-taught for BI, super BI or Power BI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
I had some, you know, I've had a couple like mentors along the way, like one of the brothers, he had a lot more, he had experience in that area. So he kind of helped get me started. But I mean, within a few months, I was like their best Power BI guy for sure.
Wow. Did you use like YouTube to learn?
YouTube was great.
Use that, or?
I paid for one course right away, just because, and he has like good YouTube videos too. Like there's a lot of like groups out there where they'll have a lot of YouTube content.
What was that course that you paid for?
It's called Learn Power BI. It's this guy named Avi Singh. He used to work for Microsoft, and he's got a lot of YouTube videos. It was just like I like the Pareto principle, like 80-20, like give me the 80% of like what I need to, or sorry, the 20% of what I need to know to really get like 80% of the value, out of like this tool. So sometimes courses will really do that for you. So it was like a couple $100 or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, when you can just kind of cover all the core concepts quickly, and just kind of build that strong foundation, I think it can be really like beneficial to just like pay for. I don't have a problem with doing that. So I've paid for a couple different courses over time, that when I see like the quality, of what it has to offer.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good way to learn. But just the best way to learn is just every new like project you do is just, and that's with anything, is just you just learn by doing.
Totally.
So it all starts to just build on top of each other, with each experience.
Yeah. Well, and it's amazing because now I feel like this field works so seamlessly with the nomadic lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
Being a digital nomad, you can
pretty perfect
work remotely.
Totally
remotely.
Yeah. There aren't many better jobs, I would think, for this kind of lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, maybe coding.
Yeah.
Like just straight software development. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't like being that techie.
Yeah.
I like what I do because I get to talk with people a fair amount and actually learn about how businesses work.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's a good path too for like the van life lifestyles, just regular software development. And yeah, it's a good, not a bad job.
Yeah.
I got no complaints.
I'm excited to dabble, man.
Yeah, definitely, man.
I need to keep up with this little Google Coursera course.
Yeah. It's hard. I know it, like when you're trying to learn something new alongside of, all the work that you're already doing. Yeah. I know how hard that is. But yeah, that's why it's like so key. I think like if you're going to have a side hustle like that, make sure like you actually like it.
Right. Yeah.
And find it interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's fun once you start, at least for me, it's all about that regression analysis, man. That's the stuff that I loved. Making sense of the data, trying to draw some conclusions or indications or patterns.
Nice, man. Yeah, well, if you like that, then yeah, definitely keep going down that path. Like keep learning stuff, and I'll give you access to that Power BI course too.
Dude, yeah, I would love that.
It's pretty good. It's
I really want to actually, like, offline. We'll at some point hopefully get to do this. I really want to see like what it actually looks like and what these dashboards look like that you're creating, and what that workflow is like.
Yeah, for sure.
What advice would you have for people who are wanting to like move in towards like remote working and specifically like data analytics?
Okay, specifically data analytics. I guess for like remote work in general, I don't know, really for anything. I think it's like try to find that intersection of like what you like, like what you're maybe kind of passionate about, and also like kind of what's in demand, what's and what pays decent, and there's actually like work for that there's demand for. Like if you can find like that intersection of like kind of practicality and also your I guess passion, like what you enjoy, and then put yourself in an environment where you're really able to like ramp that up, then it's kind of sky's the limit as far as like kind of what you can do in that tech space, or like kind of remote workspace.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't like just get into something just because like, you know, you think remote work would be sweet. Like, you know, like decide like and just pay for like a coding boot camp out of nowhere, you know, like
Yeah.
like you definitely want to like try stuff, and like once you go down a path, like commit, you know, don't like half-ass it, but you know, just take time to try to figure out like what kind of area in the tech space really kind of meshes with like what you like to do and what you're good at, you know, where you can really thrive, I would say. And I just kind of found that this BI space was a pretty good fit for me. I was coming from being a research scientist where I was already working with data quite a bit and trying to like use it to kind of convey a story, convey a message. So I just found that, and I was used to, and I was basically a professional researcher with just being able to like do research and pick out, you know, be able to take a large amount of information and like distill that down to like the most important pieces. You know, it was pretty like important ability, like skill to have, just in the area of consulting. So that just kind of like synergized pretty well with like, you know, my prior experiences as a research scientist. So yeah, just try to find like that synergy, I guess, too, with like what experience you already have, kind of like what you're good at. Yeah.
Nice. I feel like that's some good advice, man.
Yeah.
I feel like,
hope so.
well, I especially what you said about just like, you know, not just out of nowhere jumping into like a coding boot camp, but really trying to. I think one thing that I am still learning and realizing about this specific field is just how many different types of jobs there are within that. Like, before I met you, I didn't even know what BI was. I didn't even know what business intelligence was. I just knew that there was like data analytics, data science, data engineers. So I feel like there's all these different facets of that world that cater to people of different, you know, abilities and personalities.
Totally.
So, and it sounds like what you do is pretty dynamic because you're having that very crucial human interaction of like, okay, this is the client, this is the business, what are their needs? Yeah,
people that don't really speak that data language too. You know, and they're more focused on just the day-to-day of their business. But yeah, so to be able to like communicate with them and frame things, explain things in a way that doesn't overwhelm them and like and actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Do
you think you'll be doing it for a long time?
Yeah, I think so. I enjoy it. I really like my company. They're awesome. You know, like from just everyone I work with is awesome, super smart, super driven, but also just like laid back and like, you know, like nice to talk to, nice to be around. Because even though we're remote, we've gotten together a couple times.
Yeah.
And even like the leadership too, like the founders they're awesome. So it's a good culture, you know.
Yeah.
So which is kind of hard to find, I feel like.
Yeah, man, that's rare. That's sweet.
The corporate American world.
Are any of them van lifers? Any others?
I don't think so.
Do they know that you are a van lifer?
No.
Top secret. Don't listen to this podcast.
Right. No, I told one guy I work with who like, you know, I vibe with pretty well. Like told him to like, you know, keep it secret.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I don't think it would be that big of a deal, but I just don't really want to have to explain myself to everybody. And like definitely, you know, these are people who like live in like, you know, they're boomers and stuff. They live in like New York and Boston and stuff. So they're just their idea of like what about van life is probably still a little more of just like, all right, some pot smoking hippies riding around,
right?
Not really contributing to society.
Yeah.
So
sure.
Yeah, and like, but if I ever have to have that conversation, I will. But for now, I'm undercover. I got a business suit with me in the van for when I gotta go in person.
Nice.
Clean it up,
For sure.
Yeah.
That's a smart move, man. I need to have a suit just hanging in my. I have a space. I have that wardrobe.
Yeah.
I have like a white shirt and a tie in there. No pants. Besides your friend that you said is the YouTuber, at this point, do you have any other like people that you grew up with who are in the van life community?
Yeah. So I lived in small town Minnesota for a while, kind of like the elementary school years, like an hour north of like Minneapolis. And I have a couple friends from that period of my life who are van lifers. One of them's based out of Nashville, and he just kind of he's more like you, or like that's his base. I'd say he's like a more similar type of van lifer to you, where he's
urban van dweller.
He's an urban van lifer and lives in Nashville, and he's like pursuing, like the arts. I think he's has got like a comedy show or something.
Oh, sick.
Trying to be a comedian.
That's cool.
Yeah, Aiden. Shout out Aiden. He's cool dude. And yeah, just doing stuff out there, doing like photography and stuff like that. And then another friend from that same period of my life is, I guess, more like me. Him and his wife have been traveling together since like COVID, basically. They're digital nomads, and they work there. Now he's a freelancer, like freelance digital marketer or something like that. But yeah, him and his wife, they have a super sweet Dodge that they just had custom built. They started out with one van that they built that a company converted, and then they ended up selling that for like way more money because the van, prices went way up.
Take advantage of the market for sure.
Yeah, right. And they have this like all black like Dodge ProMaster.
Sick.
Which just like they had another van life couple build it out for them. Like they did the design. It's a sweet van. It's beautiful. And I got together with them at Tiny Fest down in San
went,
Diego.
man.
It was cool. It was very different from like Schoolie.
Oh yeah.
But it was still a cool event. Like, I don't know.
Was it a little bit tamer?
Well, it was just a lot more like commercial,
Oh, okay.
It was like in the Del Mar like fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of like vendors there. It was primarily like for like vendor advertising. So there's like
interesting
people there like displaying like tiny homes, like tiny home builders showing what they built. Yeah, it was cool. And there was a lot of like outdoor kind of apparel, I don't know, like vendors, like the battery manufacturers, or like some really cool gadgets. I mean, I think you'd like it because like there's some crazy gadgets there.
Don't tempt me, man.
Yeah, like
more gadgets.
Yeah, different vendors who just make kind of van life and like camping gadgets that were kind of selling them.
Yeah.
And then they had a little van life in Schoolie Village. So they had van lifers sign up to like kind of park their rig there, and then they'd like camp there at night. So that's like what I would do. I just camped in there, kind of in that little village area, and during the day you kind of felt like an exhibit a little bit.
So people would come by and just check out your van?
Yeah, like tons of them. So it was
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was
that's
like
cool.
all day just sitting outside my van, and people would like come up and go inside and talk to me about it. I got a lot of love. Yeah,
I bet.
People really I was like the only. I feel like almost every van there was like just a Sprinter van.
Yeah.
And then mine was definitely the oldest one.
Yeah.
In the whole thing.
It's got the most character.
Right.
Do you have any stickers yet?
Stickers.
Yeah, stickers of like you and your dog to like give to people.
Oh no.
I felt like everybody at Schoolie was giving out stickers of like their van, or like a picture of them and their dog, or a picture of their van. Like what, Did you ever get some stickers at Schoolie?
No.
No?
Did I give out any?
No, did you get some? Like, did people give you any stickers?
No, no one gave me
any
stickers.
Dude, I feel like I got so many stickers from people.
Really?
I got so many. I was like, wow, this is a thing? Everybody seems to have made stickers to promote their Instagram and their van and their dog and their,
That's funny.
I started collecting them on the inside of my like wardrobe door. That's my sticker, van life sticker collection.
That's funny. Well, if you ever see a sticker of me and my dog, make sure you smack me next time you see me. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
No, man, you got to do it.
Yeah, people kept they're asking me like, why don't you have your Instagram like written on your window like everybody else? I'm like, I don't know. Like, you can just ask me if you want it.
I mean, I don't know what I think about that. It's like, I can't knock it. It's people's livelihood.
Yeah,
you know, there's people who are like, they're living off of making content.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
But it is also kind of, sometimes it can be kind of cringe.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean? Yeah, I like it for connecting with people.
Yeah.
And like, I like photography too. Obviously, I share my photography on there. But yeah, I don't know. That's just like was definitely not the inspiration for getting into this lifestyle.
For sure.
But I do appreciate people out there who do make that cool content.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, the beauty of it is like everybody is doing it in a different way and for different reasons.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I know a guy who I'm trying to get on the podcast, and he is like super low key about living in a van. Like he's not, you know, shouting it from the rooftops. He's not really promoting it. Not like, and he was hesitant about, you know, the idea of coming on the podcast. But I told him, I'm like, dude, you have a perspective to share as somebody who is more private, you know, because not everybody is like that. Not everybody is like super open. Everybody's doing it for different reasons. So I think that that's interesting.
For sure.
I knew another guy like that when I first moved to LA. He would go to the 24-hour fitness that my brother and I went to, and there were so many van lifers and people living in their cars going there. And this guy was like, definitely didn't want people to know he was living in a van. He was working for Live Nation as a graphic designer, and he was doing the van life thing, but like was not like, he didn't want people to know. Which, you know, each to their own.
Yeah, it's like some people, we're all doing it for different reasons, and we're not all, I don't know, some are doing it for more financial reasons, and maybe they want to keep that private. And,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% doing it for financial reasons.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
You know, like, well,
that's part of why I am too.
The idea of paying rent just killed me, man.
Yeah.
I just couldn't take it. I was like, why am I spending money? Why am I giving my money to somebody else?
Yeah.
That money's not, I'm never going to see it again. You know, it's just a temporary shelter that I don't have any control over, and that I could technically, you know, it could be swept out from under my feet.
Yeah. No,
at any moment's notice. Now I have, you know, equity in something.
Exactly.
So, you know, my car payment is essentially the same as paying rent, but at least that money I keep in equity.
Yeah, it's yours.
So,
you know,
and I feel,
you can always rent it out too.
Like, I'm happy to pay my car payment. I like paying my car payment. I'm stoked. I'm like, sweet. This is great.
Yeah, it's yours. You know?
So, that being said, you know, I also like the lifestyle of it too. And being able to be on the road, not having to worry about a hotel.
It's amazing, man. Like, traveling, it takes all the stress out of traveling.
Yeah.
You know, like, think normally if you want to go to a national park or something like that, all the planning and like logistics and stuff you got to do.
Yeah.
Like, where am I getting my food? Where am I staying for the night? All this stuff. And it's just like, when you got everything you need on your four wheels, like, you don't have to think twice. You can just be like, all right, I'm going there.
Yeah.
Post up. You know, I just got to figure out where I'm parking for the night, and that's it. I love it, man. I could live like this comfortably for a while, and probably am going to.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Where do you want to head to next?
So I'm gonna go up the Pacific Coast Highway, probably starting next week.
Sick.
I got a surfboard on the side.
I'm gonna push this mic a tiny bit closer to you.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Cool.
I got a surfboard mounted on the side now, so definitely trying to do more of that, get better at that. So probably just hit a bunch of different beaches, going up the PCH.
Yeah.
I got another prospective partner for VLC I'm going to meet with north of San Francisco.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to make it up there to hopefully lock that deal down. Yeah, I got to fly back to Minnesota for a bit for a canoeing trip with some
Sick.
friends. Yeah,
That sounds
sick.
tight.
Yeah, Boundary Waters, man. It's a beautiful place right
And
up
you're
by
gonna-
Canada.
You're gonna bring Coda with you on the plane?
No, he'll stay with a rover or something.
Oh, and what about the van?
Airport parking.
Mm.
Yeah, I should probably figure that out now.
Have you done airport parking before with the van?
Oh yeah, a few times.
Yeah, is it expensive?
No. Well, it depends on the airport. And if you do it further in advance, it's definitely gonna probably be cheaper.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did it I've done it at Denver, Phoenix, one other I think. But I think Denver was like $7 a day or something.
Dang,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these airports
that's nothing.
they have like big lots like further away from the airport that you just take a shuttle to. So it's like, I don't care. I don't need to be close to the airport. I'll just go to the far away one, leave it there, and it's usually in a fenced in area, and then just hop on the shuttle and you're at the airport in like 10 minutes.
I heard that Vegas has a super cheap one.
Probably, yeah.
Something like
they got all that
$2 a day or
open
something.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah, so airport parking is, the way to go for sure. It's totally worth it.
It's good to know.
So I'll probably, I'm going to fly out of San Francisco, and so I should probably figure out their airport parking situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Any plans to get out to the East Coast at all in the van, or?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of my loose plan is to, head north and kind of check out the Pacific Northwest area this early summer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a van festival I want to go to in Wyoming in mid-June.
Yeah, what's that one called?
Wind River Rally.
Sick.
And it's as Aiden told me the other day, it's a Josiah event, so it'll be fun.
What does that mean?
He's a guy who puts a lot of the events on. He's the one who put on the one in Bisbee, actually, the Weird Wild West.
Oh.
So
wait. Is Josiah?
his name's Josiah.
Is he the Lost Journal person?
I am not sure. Could be.
Because that was the person who told me about. I'm looking this up right now. That was the person who told me about the Weird Wild West thing.
So yeah, he puts that event on.
Oh, the Journal of Lost Time.
Should be fun.
This person is in San Francisco.
You got to pay money for it, but
I don't know.
I'm fine with that.
How much is it?
I forget how much it is. I have to look. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. But
I've yet to see a van life gathering that's outrageously expensive.
yeah, there's one in Baja I saw that got canceled this year that was going to be like $300, which is kind of a lot, but it looked freaking sweet.
Yeah. Why'd it get
Yeah.
canceled?
I don't know.
Dude, I want to go to Baja.
I do too.
Let's do it, bro.
Let's go, man.
Let's get.
My brother would probably
Let's hit up
come,
the
too.
crew. Let's get Nathan and Alexi to come down with us.
Hell yeah, dude.
Let's convince Katie to get back into the van life.
Back in it. Katie, buy your van back.
I mean, I don't know if she sold it yet, so
Yeah.
keep it, Katie.
Yep.
Maybe by the time this
Let's go
episode
to Baja.
comes out. Let's go to Baja. I'm done with cold winters.
Yeah.
I'm done with early nights.
Yeah, I mean, I got as south as I could. I was in Tucson. I was here in, San Diego area, and I was still like, man, it's fucking cold.
Dude, it's been a cold, wet winter.
I know
in
this
LA.
is an atypical winter, but I was
Drove
like,
me nuts.
I was like, man, I need to go down to Mexico or something.
Dude, or even further, go to
Yeah.
Argentina. Just
All
get
the way.
a summer
Yeah,
instead of a winter.
pretty much.
I could be fine with that.
Yeah. But yeah, loose plan is to make my way back to Minnesota probably around midsummer, mid-July.
Mm-hmm.
Do some stuff there, hoping to get a house
Yeah.
potentially. And then I'll probably hit the road again in the fall
Mm-hmm.
and probably go down through the mountain, hit Utah, Colorado, more Arizona, Sedona, all that stuff. Probably make my way out here again.
Nice.
And then I'm going to cut across the country and go to the East Coast.
Nice.
That's kind of like my, I don't know, 12-month plan, I guess.
Sick.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get out there again. I do want to go to New England. I went to high school out there, so Vermont, super beautiful. I'd love to check that whole area out again, and yeah,
man,
lot to go see and do, you know.
Dude, there's a lot to see on this continent.
Yep.
There's a lot to see in this world too.
For sure. Yeah, and it's like it's been fun to like I've just connected with random people too from like my past and stuff, like along the journey, like seeing old friends that I haven't seen literally since like high school.
Yeah.
You know, who, you know, they'll just see them, I'll post them in the area and then they'll like message me or something like, you know, let's meet up. And I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, hey, if we vibed once, I'm like, I'm always down to hang out again, you know? So
that's awesome.
Definitely want to keep doing that too, is, you know, travel around.
Yeah.
Just connect with people, you know, connect with new people, connect with old friends, you know.
Yeah. What do you think is the best part about this lifestyle?
The best part, man, I mean, just the overall like freedom of it, you know, the self-sufficiency, just the feeling of just having everything that you need to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like right in that rig. Like it's such a wild feeling to me that you can just like pick up, go out in the middle of the desert, like on Borrego, and then you just set up, you're just good, you know?
Yeah.
You got your water, you got your food, you got the sun coming on, like charging your stuff up.
Yeah.
And then you can just pack up and go up into the mountain, you know, somewhere else. And that's just like a really cool feeling.
Yeah.
You know, every time. It's kind of like backpacking when you're backpacking and you have everything you need in your pack, you know? And you set up camp and it's like, you have all this shelter and stuff out now and food. And it's like, all that was like on my back.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like same idea. Like, just it's just that level of freedom is you really can't get that in any other lifestyle, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's a beautiful way to exist, man.
Yeah. And like just meeting people too, like probably some of my favorite moments for sure have just been like, you know, having a meal with friends like we did out in the desert.
Dude, I loved that, man.
You know,
I absolutely love that.
Yeah. Seeing that buddy of mine again from Tiny Fest, like out in the BLM land the other day and having a fire together and sharing stories. And I just got this sick, like, light up Frisbee. We were like,
nice.
We were throwing the Frisbee around like in the dark.
That's tight.
Yeah, just moments like that too are just really, you know, they're
the
special.
Spontaneity of it.
Yeah.
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 What about the hardest things about van life?
Hardest things about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you have your down days too, just like any other, just like in normal life. And those can maybe hit a little harder, you know, when you're just off in the van, like the weather's shitty and, you know, you miss your friends and family and stuff. And, you know, so that's probably, I don't know, like if you're doing it solo, like, you know, you got to just be comfortable, like on your own, like, which I am. So like, yeah, there are definitely days where it can like feel a little like lonely, like you're, I don't know, just like lost out there in the world. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But not really that often.
Yeah.
And you know, you just have to remember it's just like, you're just not having a good day, just like any other lifestyle. And so sometimes those just negative thoughts will just kind of creep in just because of the circumstances of that day and like your state of mind or like whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just kind of got to like, you know, take the highs with the highs, the lows with the lows. And, you know, it's just like normal life. It's just you're off in a van traveling around.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show, man, and hanging out and,
of course, man,
you know, sharing your story.
Yeah.
One final question. What advice would you have for people who are wanting to get into the van life?
Advice. Yeah, definitely like do your homework, you know, like don't just like dive right in, you know, kind of like I would say like ease your way in, If you're interested in doing your own build, I would encourage you to do so, just because you'll just feel a lot more capable when you're out on the road, because stuff like will break.
Dude, it will. It absolutely will.
And yeah, just take your time with it. Be strategic. Like definitely try to have some like reserves if you can, for when stuff breaks down. Because all that stuff's inevitable. I feel like I spent about 2, if not over 2 years basically, like preparing, like switching my career, getting to the right job that would enable, some like financial stability, and just kind of being able to continue the lifestyle. I got a dog who's like, just a great companion to have on the road. And that was all kind of part of the plan too. And then, I just spent a year like doing the build. So, really took my time with it. And I feel like that's part of why I'm enjoying it as much as I am right now. If I had just been like, I'm going to do it. And I'm just like, paid for a converted van and just gone right off and done it. Like, I feel like you read a lot of blog posts about people doing it and then they hate it.
Yeah.
Like the van life sucks kind of like articles and stuff. So yeah, I would just say take your time with it, ease your way in.
Yeah.
Plan, and I think you'll enjoy it a lot more. And those stressful parts of it will be a lot less stressful then.
Yeah.
Once you get there.
I think like what you said about do the build if you can. I feel like it makes it that much more rewarding. Like
totally.
When you're living in the thing that you built,
it feels really cool.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like when I'm laying down at night and I'm just looking and I'm like, I built this thing. Like, that's crazy.
Dude, I feel like that all the time.
It's like the craziest feeling in the world. I'm just the amount of like pride that I have, but also gratitude.
Yeah.
That feeling never gets old.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think that all the time when I'm just like chilling in there, and I just love the space that I'm in, and everything's like, working, and it's a really really cool feeling
when it's all working.
Yeah, all the most important things are and have been. So
yeah, and things will break.
Yeah, they will
for sure.
They will break, and that goes for the
and
ladies too.
You'll learn how to fix them. So
right. Yeah, and like, ladies, don't be discouraged by that either. I know of some girls who've built their own vans
a lot, man.
Yeah, a lot.
So many.
Like my friend Hannah, like she built her own.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And it's so you
I wonder
can,
if I know this
it.
van lifer actually. Is she blonde?
Yeah,
dude.
Hannah Lee Dugan.
I think I gotta look this up real fast because I feel like
she used to live out here. She used to be a model.
You said that she's really big on YouTube, Lee Dugan.
Yeah, she has a massive following on YouTube.
I love what comes up as Hannah Lee Dugan, open relationship.
Wow, there's probably people Googling that. She was actually off traveling when I hit the road, and we were going to meet up, but just our paths didn't cross. But she's got...
I have not actually seen this van lifer before.
Yeah, she's kind of, she doesn't always do it, like, she'll just do it for periods, kind of, like a couple months at a time.
Yeah.
She has her own little, like, cabin up in the woods in northern Wisconsin.
That's the dream.
Lake Superior. She's got, like, a house up there now, too, that she bought, and a little cabin, and she's always, like, building stuff. That's kind of her...
So sick.
That's kind of her channel's theme, is that, she's this really beautiful girl who just does all these random projects, like, oh, I'm gonna build this floating bed today, or something. Like,
damn, dude.
So
introduce me.
Right? Yeah. No, Hannah's cool. We go way back to when we were like super young.
That's amazing.
Funny. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, dude, let's wrap it up, man. Thank you so much. It's been a blast. Let's go to Baja.
Let's do it.
And let's build some stuff.
Dude, build all the things.
Until next time, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Good talking to you, Sheldon.
Thank you for listening to the Spring Street Podcast. If you'd like to support the show, sign up for the Patreon to receive exclusive behind-the-scenes content and check out the sponsor links in the description.